Well, Scott, here's a look at who to watch in this junior pairs competition. We have 3 Canadian teams that have made their way to Minsk. 3 is the maximum number of teams allowed to compete at the World Junior Championships. And Tracy, watch out, though, for the Chinese teams here. Sui and Han, certainly the class of the field for sure, should be at or near the top of the podium. But first, let's take a look back at some of the highlights from the free skate of 2 of the 3 Canadian teams, starting with Haley Bell and Alistair Sylvester.
Now, these 2 are the novice Canadian champions, and except for a mistake on a spin, they were clean in this program. It's all about experience for them here. They train in Mariposa with Lee Barkel, and they sure handled this major competition really well. And I have to say, Brenda, there are 3 Canadian teams here because last year, Natasha Purich and Raymond Schultz finished in the top 5, which allowed 3 teams to compete this season.
Well, big things were expected of this team. The reigning Canadian junior champions, Catherine Boback and Ian Bahari. They finished 2nd at the Junior Grand Prix final in December and were 6th after the short program.
Well, this is their first season, and it has been a whirlwind. But they made some mistakes here, unlike at the Junior Grand Prix final, as you said, where they finished silver. Fabulous performance at the Canadian Championships, but the little mistakes added up here. Almost just ran out of steam this season, but what a year they've had, and we expect big things for them next year.
Well, here's a look at the final flight. Wei Jing Sui and Kong Han looking to win their 3rd straight junior title, coming off a big win a few weeks ago at the Four Continents Championships in Colorado Springs, and that was a senior ISU event.
Yes, it was, and in that ISU event, they included 2 quads, the first time in the history of pair skating, quad twist, and then they did a quad throw. So what an accomplishment for them. They certainly have the wow factor.
So there's a look at Sui and Han on top of the podium, and the Canadians, Boback and Bahari, in 2nd place in that silver medal position.
That was at the Junior Grand Prix final in Quebec City. Great pairs event.
Xiao Yu and Young Jin were 5th in Quebec City, didn't make it onto the podium. They've had a terrific senior season so far. They were 7th at Skate Canada and 6th at the Cup of China. While Margaret Purdy and Michael Marinero were 6th at the Canadian Seniors Pair Championships, and of all the Canadian teams in Minsk, they've been together the longest, 5 years in all.
Yes, they have, and this is a team that is really well prepared. They go about their business, and you know, it's just a game of fractions of an inch in the pairs competition. Skating clean is so important that you don't leave anything on the table in terms of points. There's a double flip that she's warming up there.
Here are the reigning U.S. junior champions, Haven Denny and Brandon Frasier, former roller skaters.
Yes, and she is the younger sister of Katie Denny, who is a U.S. champion. And they were partnered together for 3 years, and then they separated, and for 3 years went with different partners. So this season they got back together and gradually have been on a nice climb.
This team going for the 3-peat at the World Junior Championships. A wealth of talent belies their age. The Minsk Arena is one of the city's most unique structures, home to the Continental Hockey League's Dynamo Minsk. It opened back in 2010 and has quickly become one of the country's most recognizable landmarks, and lots of people on hand for the junior pairs competition. As you take a look at the standings after the short program, no surprise to see Sui and Han of China in 1st place. Right behind them, Yu and Jin, also of China, and the Canadian teams, Boback and Bahari, 6th. We saw their free skate a little bit earlier, and Margaret Purdy and Michael Merritt. Well, they were 5th after the short, and oh so close to 3rd place for the young Russians.
Well, this is going to make it tough for the other competitors. Triple-double combination here, but the throws were also so clean. Here's a death spiral looking for the levels. Highest level is level 4, and look at how low she gets. Look at how low he gets. And they will pick up top levels for that maneuver.
Championships. And now the Canadian team of Margaret Purdy and Michael Marinero. They finished 8th at this event last year. Their goal for the season to move up from that position. They recorded their best ever Grand Prix final result in Latvia earlier this season when they won the bronze medal.
So they're 7th after the short program here. And they will skate to Queen's Adagio, and this was choreographed by Allison Perkis. Into a series of double axos. That was just bang on and right into the second ones. Way to recover.
One of their goals this season was that they wanted to skate to tell a story rather than tick off the elements. They wanted to display more dedication, I guess, to the choreography this year. Isn't that what separates a lot of junior skaters from the senior pair skaters?
No question, Brenda. And also, when the skaters can get sort of involved in the storytelling and the music, it helps to link the choreography together, and it helps to take the pressure off just thinking ahead to the next element and the next jump. Showing good strength here as they're approaching the end of their performance. Well-matched team, both very strong, good flow. You can see the speed consistent from beginning to end of the program. Second throw triple Salchow, excellent. You know, this is called going out and doing what you can do. Good for them.
the 2010 Canadian Junior Champions, Margaret Purdy and Michael Marinaro.
Margaret Purdy, Michael Marinaro, Canada.
Margaret Purdy and Michael Marinaro train out of Strathroy, Ontario. And Tracy, they should be proud of that free skate. A nice recovery after the mistake early in the program.
Well, it's interesting you say that, Brenda, because I completely forgot they made a mistake at the beginning, because they did recover so well. And here you look, here you'll see the triple twist, and she doesn't quite get up in the air enough. And so he has to go down to his knee. And usually when you make a mistake like this at the beginning of the program, it sets up the nerves and the mistakes pile on. But they went from that element to doing back-to-back double axel. So, and then skated strongly at a high level throughout that program. You know, they came here and in the short program, except for the triple twist, they got level 4s across the board for their elements, and that's the highest levels that they can get, so they did their job in the short program. Following through here, Coach Scott Raychuk is at home, and there is their choreographer and coach also, Allison Perkis, and they've done a terrific job with these two skaters, preparing them for the Worlds, and their highest score this year internationally, and would have been higher without the mistake on the twist.
They were 7th after the short, just a couple of points back in 3rd will leave them in 2nd place for the moment. You always wonder if that's going to change, if they're going to drop down when the next team is Wenjing Sui and Kong Han, who were 1st after the short and looking for their 3rd World Junior title of their careers. And as I mentioned earlier in the program, coming off a huge win just a few weeks ago at the Four Continents competition, which is a major senior event.
And they just lit up the arena in Colorado Springs with the quads. And we will see them attempt them here as well. That's the plan on paper. Skating to the soul of flamenco, and they will open with the throw quad salchow. Look at the speed and the height. Oh, wow, that was so pretty. 2-foot landing. Other than that, gorgeous. Side-by-side triple jumps. This is their weakness. Nice triple toe. Oh, he had a bit of trouble on his double toe. Turned it to a single. And now get ready. Quad twist. She rotates 4 times over his head.
Tracy, this has been a busy team. They've competed now in 7 international competitions. A lot of the teams we're seeing, and a lot of individual skaters as well, if they're good enough to compete in senior, they'll compete in the junior as well, and I don't know how they do it.
I don't either. It's exhausting, and if you watch their energy and expression, the game face is on from beginning to end, and boy, has she got the it quality. She is 16 years of age. He is 19. The old style of the great Chinese pairs was really about the acrobatic tricks. These guys bringing the sizzle to their performance at an early age.
Wenjing and Kong were inspired by 2010 Olympic Paris champion Xu Weishen and Hongbo Xiao. They started skating after watching them on television at home in 2002. Their first Olympic appearance. Wenjing Sui and Kong Hong looks like they might have the three-peat. We'll be back with their scores right after this from Minsk, Belarus. Wenjing Sui and Kong Han won the junior title at the World Championships in 2010, again in 2011, and Tracy.
Watch this landing of the throw quad solidly on 2 feet. So as sensational as that move in is, it has to be cleaned up, as does this one. Do you see how she landed on his shoulder? Again, full credit for the wow factor of doing a quad. However, to really get it to the next level, they have to try and land it cleanly. Again, sloppiness now on the triple double-double, and he singled his. They'll lose some marks on that. So it's interesting, as good as they are technically, Brenda, and what they're adding to the skating, it's artistically that I'm impressed with these two. Some of the sensational moves, but also the energy with which they deliver the performance, with which they deliver every detail of the skating. So many of the pair skaters can sort of go inside themselves and just be focusing on all the job, and they just put it right out there, full-on expression, top to bottom.
So you think that was a performance that will do it for them again in 2012, give them the World Junior title?
5-point lead going in after the short program, and guaranteed those marks added to the 5-point buffer will give them the gold again.
Well, they move into first place. Just a couple of teams left to come here in the junior pairs competition. You're right, that's going to be very difficult to beat, to combine a score of more than 175 points. And here are Sui and Han's training partners, Xiao Yu and Yang Jin. And this team was fifth at the Junior Grand Prix final in Quebec City. And these Chinese teams couldn't be any more different, really. Compare the two.
Well, so true. One that you just saw had that wow factor, sensational. This is a softer cell, lyrical, lighter. And these two have enormous potential. Skating to Requiem for a Dream. This was choreographed by Marina Zueva. Virtue and Moyer's choreographer, Gordieva and Grenkov's choreographer. Beautiful height and such a light landing on that triple twist. side-by-side triple toes. Very clean, so these two will be picking up marks for the difficulty, but more importantly from the quality of their elements. What a beautiful, innovative approach to their death spiral.
They didn't reach the podium on the Grand Prix and the Senior Grand Prix this season, but they were very respectable. 7th at Skate Canada, 6th at the Cup of China.
She has such a natural grace and elegance. Throw triple loop. Piece of music that Jessica Dubé Bryce Davison of Canada had skated to. Good, strong piece of music. I feel it really suits him. I find it overpowers her. That's the only thing in this program that, for me, which was otherwise flawless and beautiful skating, it missed somewhat. Alexander Gorshkov there on the left of your screen. First Olympic gold medalist in ice dance, but sensational skating, clean skating.
This team didn't make the podium at the Junior Grand Prix final, looking for their very first World Junior medal here, but in tough to beat their Chinese teammate Sui and Han, that's for sure.
However, the quality of their elements will outmatch their Chinese teammates. It's so easy to see the height, the cleanness, no little glitches. They were just right on today. Again, the death spiral, they went doing a back spiral, almost upside down. Now watch this, the series of double axels. Look at the unison in the air and on the landing. And from one, they hop into a mazurka and right back into the second. And then they were able to head down the ice and land side-by-side triple toes. Here's a look at the throw triple loop, and look at her nice tight position with her feet in the air and picking up speed on the landing. Finally, their side-by-side triple jumps at the beginning of the performance. Again, I just found the music was heavy. It didn't bring out her softness and lightness, and I think that's something that they can play on, a beautifully graceful and balletic skater.
What they're going to be looking for now is a score over 120 points to move into first place, and 8 points, 7 points shy of that, 112.76.
Technically, though, a point higher than Sui and Han, so what an accomplishment. Remember, Sui and Han going after 2 quads in that program. So terrific score, season's best for Yu and Jing.
Well, there is only one team left to come, so they know that they will finish on the podium here at the World Junior Championships. And here is the final team. Haven Denny and Brandon Frasier started life as roller skaters, even partnered together in that sport. And here they are, the American Junior Champions. And not too often you hear of roller skaters making it in figure skating.
And as I said during their warm-up, they skated together for 3 years, then with different partners for 3 years. This season, back together, and they skate to music from the Pearl Harbor soundtrack. Train in Colorado Springs with Delilah Sappenfield. Heading into their triple twist. They have struggled this season. Their first back together in a number of years. They were 8th at their first Junior International, 7th at the next. But a big win for them at the U.S. Championships. And here in 4th place after the short program. Talk about finishing on a high.
competition at the World Juniors. We've seen so much variety in what each of these teams has brought to the ice, something a little bit different.
And this is an easy piece of music to like. It just carries you, the soundtrack of Pearl Harbor. And they're able to sort of play off the energy in the music, and with the clean skate, you can just feel their energy rising.
Well, they're the 2012 U.S. Junior Champions, looking for something special here in Minsk. Fourth after the short program. Can they make it onto the podium? We'll find out in just a moment. Well, now awaiting the scores for our final team in the pairs competition, Denny and Brandon Frasier, who looked, Tracy, solid in that free skate.
Absolutely solid, Brendan. You could see not a lot of height on the throw triple sow, but nailed the landing, and the same on these jumps here. Nice, clean, strong. And that would be the one thing that separates them from the Chinese or the Russian team that we saw. The height on the jumps, just not quite in the same category. But what they were able to do was to sell this program, let the music carry them, did not put a foot wrong. And so what a year they've had, just the way they've been able to build up. This is a throw triple loop. She tried it 4 times this season in competition, missed it 4 times. So she said to him there, got it this time.
Well, probably first and second place is out of reach for the Americans. They probably have their eye on that bronze medal position. They'll need a score just under 103 points to make it onto the podium and move ahead of Dankova and Puta, but yes.
Fourth, and they're saying fantastic.
Yeah.
They're thrilled with those scores because there's not scores that they've seen this year.
They've come a long way since the beginning of the season.
They sure have.
So it's going to be the Chinese teams finishing first and second, Sui and Han in first, and Yu and Jin in second place. So you see the Canadians, Birdie and Marinero, in 5th place.
And that means Canada will be able to send 3 teams to Junior Worlds in pairs again next year based on a 5th place finish.
Let's hear from our champions.
I think the Belarus is our lucky place because we can win the Junior World Champion the 3rd time. And this is our 2nd time get here. And the fans very welcoming. Thank you.
So for the first time in a long time, China places a couple of teams on the podium at the World Junior Championships. We're used to hearing that on the senior circuit, but not necessarily at the juniors.
And look at that podium, and all 3 of those teams so different, but with such potential.
And one thing I noticed is even though they're junior teams, they look so mature. You look at the top 5 or 6 teams that we've seen here.
They only look junior in stature.
Yes,
They're
exactly.
they're littler, but boy, can they do some impressive tricks and wonderful quality.
As you mentioned, Tracy, good news. 3 Canadian teams did well enough here to guarantee 3 teams will head off to the World Junior Championships next year. Now let's head back to Scott Russell.